everyone, welcome to our new segment at Biteable, where we're just going to discuss any recent things that have happened in the world of social media, marketing, and workplace communications. My name is Haley. I'm the Growth Marketing Manager at Biteable, and joining me is my co-host, Mike. Mike, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, my name's Mike. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Biteable and get to work with Haley. And we're excited to chat about, have a discussion about what's going on in the world of marketing today.
Awesome. So today we figured it'd be a great time to talk everything LinkedIn, how to grow your personal brand on LinkedIn, how job seekers can utilize the platform, and we'll touch a little bit on LinkedIn Learning because Mike is very familiar with LinkedIn Learning. So let's jump right into it. Obviously, this is a very interesting job climate right now. We're seeing a lot of layoffs, and as such, we're seeing a lot of people who are open to work on the platform. Mike, do you have any tips for people creating LinkedIn posts, how they can stand out if they're looking for work or if they just kind of want to start a personal brand on LinkedIn while they're in between jobs?
Yeah, maybe just to at the risk of stating the obvious, I think, there is that open to work slider or button toggle that you can do. So I think if you find yourself in that situation, you definitely want to turn that on so that recruiters can see that. I think, posting on LinkedIn is a little bit different than posting on other platforms, whether that's Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or Facebook or whatever, Mastodon. But I think you really want to just try to keep it professional. The people that I have seen who are like in between jobs, looking for jobs, and then have had success getting hired, the types of posts they're doing are really around, like, hey, I'm looking for something. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what I'm excited about. Here's what I'm passionate about. And they keep it really positive. And then I see them also like promoting other people or, saying, hey, here's some observation I have about something in this industry that I'm in. Those are the types of posts that I think people want to be doing on LinkedIn, especially if they're looking for a job. Because I think that really helps show recruiters, okay, what is this person about? What's their mindset? What's their attitude? That type of a thing.
Yeah, I love that. And I like the note about interacting with other people's content because I think LinkedIn, it can be intimidating to post there, especially if you're looking
Totally.
for work. Like you feel a lot of pressure, but even just interacting with other people's posts, I think is a great way to start. And then your name's in their comment section, you're kind of getting exposure to their network, and your network kind of slowly grows from that, which is like a pretty simple, really no risk involved way to get started.
Absolutely. And I think, and if you're commenting on someone's post, unless it's somebody that you're following, right, like a Richard Branson type of a person, right? If I comment on your post, it's likely that I know you, right? You're likely going to respond to it, right? And then that has this flywheel effect of just amplifying it and getting your name out in front of more people, right?
Totally. Yeah. And Mike, I was just telling you before we started recording today, in addition to the open to work banner that you can put right on your profile, there's a new feature on LinkedIn too. And I'll enter a little screen recording of how to find it here. But if you have specific companies that you're interested in working for, you can go to the About page on their LinkedIn profile. And if you scroll down slightly, there will be an I'm interested button that lets the recruiters at that company know that you're interested in working there, and it shares your LinkedIn profile with them. So if they do have a job opening come up that fits your profile, they can reach out to you directly. Now, this is really new. It came out within the last week. So I'd be very curious to see what it looks like from the recruiter's point of view and kind of what they see on their end. But it's still a really interesting new tool, and you can do it confidentially too. So nobody will know that you're interested in working at these companies aside from the recruiters that you are notifying, essentially.
That's it. I didn't know about that feature until you told me that, but I think it's really exciting because I think otherwise, the research or like not just research, but like the recommendations I've seen from other people on YouTube channels and whatnot really say like, don't just sit back and wait, right, for someone to find you, right?
Yeah.
And even if there's not a job posting up,
Yeah.
reaching out, like you just said, to the
Totally.
recruiter and just saying, hey, I'm interested. If anything comes up that you have in mind, let me know. And I think it just really shows that initiative that people are looking for.
Completely, yeah. And you never know what's coming down their hiring pipeline. So it could kind of get your foot in
Totally.
the door a little bit earlier than just throwing your name into the mix with 200 applicants when it does go live on LinkedIn.
Right, exactly.
And I do want to talk a little bit about LinkedIn Learning pretty quickly. Mike, you're very
Mhm.
familiar if you want to give a bit of your background with LinkedIn Learning, but I think it could be a really
Yeah.
interesting tool that job seekers can utilize while they're in between those jobs too. So why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. So years ago, I like many years ago, before LinkedIn Learning, it was lynda.com. I recorded a couple of courses there. Um, and then fast forward a few more years after I recorded a course there, I actually worked there in the marketing team at lynda.com. And then after I left lynda.com, I actually became an author doing more courses on how to do different things at lynda.com, and then LinkedIn Learning. And so, as a marketer there, one of the features that we were really promoting was these certificates of completion, because lynda.com wasn't like it's not some formal education institution where you get like a diploma or anything like that. But you would get these certificates of completion that you could post somewhere. And then
Right.
when LinkedIn acquired lynda.com, there was a tighter integration of like when I completed that course, I could post that certificate of completion to my LinkedIn profile
That's
to
awesome.
show prospective employers, recruiters, or other people what skill sets I've done. Right. And I think it's a great investment in yourself to have that subscription to LinkedIn Learning, so that you can then post that complete certificate of completion on a course, whether it's Google Analytics or how to communicate better, whatever it is, a programming language, whatever it is, right? That you can post that to your profile to show recruiters that, like, hey, this person is never just satisfied with what they learned in college or learned on the previous job or whatever, right? They're always trying to improve themselves. And I think the more um, uh, types of things that you can post there and include in your profile, the better it makes you stand out.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've done a few of the courses on LinkedIn Learning too, and there's just so many to choose from. It's really cool that you can kind of get started learning on literally any topic that you want.
Right. And I think there are they even have learning paths where you can like say, hey, I want to become a better marketer, or I want to become fill in the blank. And they'll recommend courses for you to take, and you can either take the whole course, you take an individual video. But like if you want that certificate of completion to show up, you do have to complete the whole course.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And then I think there's even some of the courses, I know some of the courses have quizzes in them. And then you can post that you completed the course and got whatever score on it. And you completed, you got 100% on all the answers, type of thing. So you weren't just like fast forwarding through it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's a great resource for people.
That's really cool. Nice that it's all integrated on LinkedIn so you can show off those accomplishments too.
Exactly.
And then I've also seen a lot happening on LinkedIn with video resumes. I think it's just a really interesting way for people to kind of show more of their personality and again, stand out, maybe attract a bit of attention. What are your thoughts? Do you think video resumes are going to become more popular in the future, or do you think they're kind of just like a hot topic right now?
Yeah, I don't have that crystal ball, right? But what I will say is, in a sea of sameness, right? Where, like, as a hiring manager myself in the past, when I just get like resume after resume after resume that all look very similar, right? Anything that you can do to stand out is super helpful, right?
Yeah.
So like on your LinkedIn profile, if you're including a link to like, your own website, or in a PDF, you're including a link to something, right? Showing like, hey, here's what else I've done. And like the nice thing about a video is I can tell you I built a project, or I can tell you that I built a website, or I did something, right? But actually illustrating it and visualizing it in a short 30-second video
Yeah.
is a great way to to capture someone's attention, to pique their interest, to actually want to ask you more questions in an interview. Like, you don't want the video to be like completely exhaustive and explain everything. It should just be like kind of that little teaser trailer to like, you want to call me,
Yeah.
right? Type of a thing. And so I think whether people realize that yet now or not, I think that's what they should be thinking about to like
Yeah.
really help them stand out in a fairly crowded job market right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think another cool way you could use it too is so many people have, like you said, those websites or those portfolios, but like doing a screen recording with a picture of you in the bottom corner and just kind of explaining the things that are on your portfolio and what the recruiter is looking at is just like a pretty easy way to kind of add some personality too. And LinkedIn a few months ago
Yeah.
released a feature where you can pin a video on your personal profile. So that's kind of like if you wanted to just post it and then pin it there, then any
Yeah.
recruiter can see it there.
That's a really good point. Like, yes, you can show the video, you can have a little voiceover to it. But I think having that little picture-in-picture screen recording part is a great way just to add a little bit more context.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And also show your enthusiasm about the project.
Totally.
Right? Or talk through very briefly like a challenge that you had to overcome to get something done.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. Adds a bit more context than your typical website or text-based resume would.
Yeah, because you don't want to assume that someone's going to read between the lines.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if it's important to you to highlight something. So yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like with all of those rules around like one-page resumes, it's tough to fit in all of your accomplishments in such a small space. So this kind of bypasses that rule a little bit.
Exactly.
Well, we are coming up on 10 minutes here, so we'll wrap up for today. We hope you found these tips helpful on LinkedIn. We hope you are successful in your job search. And if you have any recommendations on things that you want us to cover in these quick 10-minute chats, then leave them in the comments. But other than that, thank you for watching today. And Mike, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks, Haley.
Bye.